What's up, everybody? It's DC and Lake here for episode 5 of No Huddle Hoops, where today we're going to talk about the notable matchups from week 1, predict Thursday night football between the Green Bay Packers and the Washington Commanders tomorrow. We're in the NBA, we're going to talk about Kawhi Leonard and his ongoing situation. In college football, we're going to talk about Florida losing to South Florida last Saturday and Arizona State losing to Mississippi State, and predict some of the games from this upcoming week.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into this NFL recap. First up, we're going to go with my favorite team, the Atlanta Falcons, losing by a missed field goal to estranged kicker Younghoe Koo. So, in the final drive, Michael Penix leads the Atlanta Falcons down into field goal range to set up a 44-yard field goal for kicker Younghoe Koo, and he shanked it to the right. Pretty big shank. He wasn't even close to making it, which I thought was never going to happen because before they iced the kicker, he had made the field goal. But since, that doesn't count, he comes back out, and I'm like, oh, we'll be fine. He misses the field goal. Other than a heartbreaking loss, I would like to say some takeaways I have is that Michael Penix is really, he's the next thing for Atlanta as far as quarterback goes. He had 300 passing yards, a rushing touchdown, and a normal touchdown. He threw for 75% completion. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy with our quarterback situation. Do you have any takeaways from the Atlanta Falcons Tampa Bay game?
Regardless of me being a Falcons hater, which I am, I thought Penix balled. I thought he did pretty well. It was unfortunate that they missed a kick at the end, but y'all got a future in Penix. But as for my New Orleans Saints, we didn't lose as bad as I thought we were going to lose. I thought Spencer Rattler did pretty solid for what he had. I will say penalties and the secondary cost him the game a lot.
Juwan Johnson dropping that ball.
You can say that too. We were upset about that, but he shouldn't have been put in that situation, I feel like, more than anything. But I thought we played okay for what we had, but we got to fix the penalties and fix the secondary if we want to be better, which we probably won't be, but we got some guys for the future.
Now, how about that Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles game? Both teams had 0 points with generated offense after the weather delay.
I thought Dak played pretty well, considering CD sold at the end with like 3 drops, I want to say. He did pretty good. He didn't have a touchdown or interception, but I think he did more than enough to get the Cowboys the win. But as for the Eagles, there might be some questions about their defense. They were letting up a lot of yards for the Cowboys in the first half. They let Dak start 11 of 12, I want to say, and it was 21-24 at the half. So there was no defense really being played. They had a few corners get burnt, but the Eagles are still good offensively. They got Saquon involved, but they did not target A.J. Brown more than once. He only had a catch for 8 yards, I think.
Yes, both Eagles receivers were not targeted much. Last Thursday. I want to say CeeDee Lamb was my ultimate reason as to why the Cowboys lost that game. But I'm not only putting the blame on CeeDee Lamb here. The Cowboys' run defense has taken a major hit.
I do agree with that.
The Cowboys let up an ungodly amount of rushing yards, especially to Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. I'll tell you what, though. Their new guy, who they traded Micah Parsons for, has been... He was fine. He got, I believe, an assisted sack in the game. So it's not like he was, a awful guy to trade for.
It wasn't like he was a non-factor to you?
Yeah, Kenny Clark did fine. Okay. I believe Kenny Clark did okay. He's definitely not going to fill the void that Michael Parsons left, but with the 2 first-round picks they got, they'll get another guy.
Okay. Yeah.
As far as that goes, that's kind of what we're going to wrap it up for the Thursday matchup. How about, tell you what, a surprise for me was the Raiders coming out on top against my dark horse this year, the Patriots. Ashton Jeanty finished with a rushing touchdown. Geno Smith with a passing touchdown.
Man, Geno looked really good. Looked really good. Yeah. So it kind of makes you think, was it Seattle or, what's going on? But Geno looked really good against the Patriots. That
Seattle Seahawks offensive line, still a major question. They took a 5-point loss to the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday.
Man, they look horrible. I mean, the play calling wasn't great either. Sam Darnold wasn't really put in a position to win. And I know I said in a previous video that he was not going to be the long-term answer, but I think a lot of why they had to lose is because the play calling was horrible. I think there was a 4th and 1 and the Seahawks had a chance to get the first down and essentially run the clock out.
Yeah.
They decided to kick the field goal, and Brock Purdy led the team down the field and scored a touchdown. Now, granted, there was Tariq Woolen of the Seahawks got burnt a lot in that game, let Ricky Pearsall get around 104 or 5 yards around him. But, man, that's a game the Seahawks should have won, but it would have been ugly.
And now let's go ahead and jump into the big matchup of Week 1. Me and Devin will pick out a matchup from each week that we would like to discuss as the main matchup per every recap week. Mm-hmm. And for this week, wasn't really a question. Baltimore Ravens versus Buffalo Bills.
What a game, man. What a game. Buffalo Bills started out slow. I thought they'd lose, but it just says a lot about the Ravens defense. You can't really put the fumble that Derrick Henry had on him because he had over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have to say about that?
Man, it's my main takeaway is with 8 minutes left on the clock in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens blew a 15-point lead.
Mm-hmm.
They were up by 15 with 8 minutes left on the clock, and they blew it. Josh Allen looked like, when you think of this, like, with the MVP matchup, this was an MVP face-off because we both agree Lamar Jackson should have won it last year.
Yeah.
But when you watch this game, it's clear, maybe not. Maybe that's, maybe it's more than just the numbers. And what we watch out of Josh Allen, it's clear it's more than just the numbers. What I would think, Keon Coleman also had a great game.
I was very impressed with Keon.
Keon Coleman had an amazing
like
game.
him.
He had what a showing,
yeah,
man. I wish I didn't trade him in fantasy. What I love about Josh Allen is what he can do with these new receivers. Khalil Shakir, he's not a wide receiver. One,
he's
a two,
severely
a three.
underrated, man.
He's underrated, but if you put him on any other team with these great wide receivers, he's not stacking up the same as he does on Buffalo because Josh Allen can make his receivers look amazing.
Yeah, he really can.
Dalton Kincaid still disappoints me.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see him break out of his shell. And I'm not just saying that because he's on my bench in fantasy.
Well, I'm gonna go back to the Ravens, but I agree with your Josh Allen thing. Man, we might have to start having questions about John Harbaugh being on the hot seat. He is a great head coach, but when it comes to blowing these games in the last few years, there's been a lot of questions. Their defense could not stop anything in that fourth quarter. They could not. They were up 15. I want to say it was 40-25 with like 8 minutes left, and the Bills were able to come back. And I had Baltimore. I think I had Baltimore losing this anyways, but I just expected them to close it out in the final minutes. So I was very disappointed in them for that. But we might need to start having some conversations.
He won the Lights Out Super Bowl in New Orleans in 2013. It was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I hope he doesn't turn into a Doc Rivers of the NFL.
Yeah,
Doc Rivers
really
won the
don't.
2008 championship with that loaded Celtics roster and has been getting job after job because he's a championship coach who's taken a team to the championship before. He's actually taken them 2 times in a row. But, the second time they played in that finals, the Boston Celtics lost to the Lakers.
Yeah.
So, what do you think if John Harbaugh is still going to be the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, or if he gets fired and he finds work at a different franchise, could he be the NFL's Doc Rivers?
Well, I think he could, but here's the thing. If he was to get fired, which I don't even see that happening, but he might be on the hot seat conversation, he's going to Miami.
He's going to Miami?
I think he's going to Miami. And the reason I say that is because the game that we saw on Sunday against the Dolphins and the Colts, they didn't look good.
They really didn't. And, I don't think a lax head coach is what they have right now in Miami. Who's their head coach?
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, a laid-back head coach. That's not what you need in Miami right now. He hasn't been successful since he's got there. There was, these seasons where they looked like, the Dolphins looked like contenders. Maybe not contenders, but scary in the playoffs. And in all times, they lost in the wild card. So you need to move on from him. You need to sign a hard-knock coach. And if John Harbaugh does end up being released from the Ravens and goes to Miami, I think that's a positive change for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think it would be too. We need to start having conversations about the Dolphins just blowing it up entirely.
They need to. Move on from Tua.
Yeah.
Tua is too jacked up to keep playing quarterback. I would have retired if I was him.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill's getting older. I'm pretty sure he say he wanted to retire soon.
Yeah,
I read that in the offseason.
And he's got ongoing cases that we're not even going to get into. But we're going to get into next Thursday Night Football.
Let's go ahead and predict. That's a great matchup. Washington Commanders playing the Green Bay Packers on Thursday, prime time Thursday Night Football. And I'll go ahead and get into my prediction. I want the Packers covering the spread with a touchdown win.
Man, this is tough. I need to see more from Jordan Love, but I'm going to give Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders a win. I think they win by a field goal.
By a field goal?
Yeah.
Okay, so Devin will take Commanders spread. What I like out of Green Bay, they absolutely smoked the Lions, who, of course, had, Aiden Hutchinson coming back shaky. But Lions also lost some coaches.
And their offensive line too.
Yes. However, the Lions still have an explosive offense.
Yeah.
And even though Jared Goff is losing, some step, even though their offensive line is taking a hit, they're still the Lions, and I still expect them to play at a high level.
Mm-hmm. They're going to be in cap hell in a few years. Because
they really are.
They're going to have to pay Jahmyr Gibbs. They're going to have to pay Laporta. They're going to have to pay so many guys that the Lions might be over. They might be over. But next up, we're going to get into Kawhi Leonard's situation. Get into that a little bit.
Kawhi Leonard is having an ongoing investigation circulating around his circumventing of the NBA's salary cap. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer offered Kawhi Leonard a contract in the 2019-20 offseason to get him signed with the Clippers. Many people thought that was suspicious as to why he went to the Clippers instead of the Lakers or another big market team. Now, we know he didn't want to stay in Toronto, but why the Clippers? Well, we just found out. Steve Ballmer has opened a fake tree planting company and has declared it bankrupt to give Kawhi Leonard, or on the attached file name, what was it, KL2 Agencies maybe?
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was a fake agency made for Kawhi Leonard to get $7 million from Steve Ballmer every single season as not part of his NBA contract. It's a fraudulent scheme that is most definitely against the law. So, Steve Ballmer, if found guilty, will be punished. Maybe they're not going to take his team away, but we've seen a similar situation like this happen with Joe Smith and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who offered him 3 consecutive one-year deals to go ahead and circumvent the cap to offer him a big max deal. David Stern put the hammer down on that one and fined them 5 first-round picks. But I would argue Steve Ballmer's case is even worse because he didn't do it through the means of just finding a loophole in an NBA rule. He found a means through fraud. So maybe we could see his ownership stripped. Steve Ballmer was one of my favorite owners, man. He was just an angel.
That might actually be crazy because not only did they have the chance of, possibly losing draft picks, this guy might lose his job. He might lose his ownership of the team. So that's what makes it even more serious. But now we look at Kawhi like, is Kawhi really genuine or is he a fraud,
I know. His ongoing, the narrative of Kawhi Leonard is his nonchalantness and his, just all around his aura of, kind of being
being to himself.
Being a conservative kind of guy. I don't really see him. I'm looking at him differently now. I really am. If this is found to be true, the Los Angeles Clippers, at the minimum, will not have a first-round pick until 2033. And that's the bare minimum of 5 first-round picks being fined from them. I think it's worse. But moving on from Kawhi Leonard's situation, we're going to move into college football and the Florida loss to the South Florida.
Oh, poverty, Florida. Losing to South Florida.
This actually sprung South Florida above Alabama in the rankings at, I believe, number 18.
Yeah, and I agree with it. I think they should be higher. Florida is what they is with Billy Napier. He's obviously not an SEC-level head coach. That's why he's called Sunbelt Billy, because he was at Louisiana Lafayette, which is a Sunbelt school. I call him Sunbelt Billy. I hope Florida keeps him so LSU and Alabama and all these teams can beat up on him. But Florida has the toughest remaining schedule in the country. I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it was really difficult heading in. I expected them to go ahead and pull a win out of this. What does it say about DJ Lagway and him not being able to perform against a team like USF? Now, USF gave SEC teams a problem like Bama last season, but in the fourth quarter, when we locked in and really, got in our game, Alabama ended up winning that game, scoring 42 points, most of them being in the fourth.
Yeah.
But what does this say about a guy like DJ Lagway, who is expected to take over as the 5-star, be the savior of this Florida program? And it's just... wow, man.
I just don't see the hype in DJ Lagway. I really don't. It's kind of like him and Arch. What have they done? What have Arch and DJ Lagway done to deserve all this hype?
Well, of course, you're always going to get a bunch of hype as a new quarterback coming into an SEC school.
I agree with that.
5 stars, too. I mean, we did see some flashes of, how good he can be last season when he came in and made some starts for the injured quarterback that they had.
I thought he did decent.
And, of course, where does Arch Manning's hype extend from?
Yeah, my uncles Peyton and Eli, combined 4-time Super Bowl champions. Anyways, but we had another big upset. Number 12 Arizona State lost to Mississippi State. No one was expecting that at all.
SEC football, it just means more.
It really does.
Let's go ahead and get into this Arizona State loss. Sam Leavitt.
Again, another quarterback. The hype is insane for him. I'm seeing on boards that he's a top 6 quarterback on draft boards, and I just don't see it.
Must have thought Cam Scatterby was still in that backfield.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
I mean, Sam Leavitt, I expected him to be great too, but that performance against Mississippi State, just a blunder. And the Mississippi State Bulldogs are actually 2-0. Into this third week, some other notable teams like Florida State won 77-3 against
that's
East Texas A&M.
Man.
Alabama shuts out ULM 73-0. Not that I'm proud of that or anything, but it is a win to head us into the right direction. Devin was actually pretty mad at LSU's performance against Louisiana Tech. He thought the Tigers were going to drop in the ranking, but as the new AP Top 25 poll comes out, the top 3 teams are still Ohio State, Penn State, and the Louisiana State University Tigers.
Can I just say this? I'm gonna just say this. Nuss, you got to play better, man. I mean, bottom line, if you want to be an elite quarterback, he's a good quarterback. Not great yet. You've got to play better, man. Like, you have got to use your wheels and run. It doesn't help that his offensive line was struggling the whole night against Louisiana Tech. But that really says a lot about Tech. Their defense came to play. If they had a little bit more offense, they could have stayed in that game. But the offense just has not been getting started up fast the last 2 games. So hopefully Florida will be the one where they click in. But, I mean, I thought we were going to drop at least 2 or 3 spots. Georgia dropped, I want to say, to 6. They were like 4, I want to say. But
they were, yes.
Yeah, LSU's got to play better, bottom line.
When you're a big-time SEC school, when you're a big-time blue blood like the LSU Tigers are, you have to win those games by 40.
Yeah.
40 plus.
You have to.
I mean, aside from Georgia, all the other SEC teams did it just fine.
Yeah.
So is it a coaching issue? Is it a player issue?
I think it's play calling. I think it's play calling. This stupid jet sweep plays that Sloan's running. Like, I think this is his second year being the OC. So there's questions with that too. But the defense is not even a problem anymore. It's not even a problem. But that's all I got to say.
That's all we have to say about college football, which is going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week's episode 5 of No Huddle Hoops.
Yep.
We apologize for missing last week's upload. We just could not upload that piece of content garbage. But
yeah, it wasn't very good.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of No Huddle Hoops, episode 5. I want to take a quick moment to shout out the Terrible Table, who has given us this production setting and edited our videos. Thank you for tuning in with us, and we'll see you guys next week here on No Huddle Hoops.
We appreciate y'all. Thank you.